everyone. My name is Esmée St. James. I'm founder and CEO of The Dating Muse. I coach smart, serious men how to get a great love life. I love doing what I do. And to that end, I am interviewing a number of people for my show, Top Secret Tips for Single Men. Today, I'm very honored to have an amazing man on my show. His name is Francis Piché. And Francis is the host of the Resilience Element Show, another show host. Isn't that cool? What he does is he explores how individuals can follow their heart to accomplish their dreams, despite whatever may be standing in their way, despite perhaps rejection or whatever. So Francis started off as a salesperson and soon realized that, all the numbers and making money and stuff it wasn't cutting it for him. It wasn't getting where he wanted. And he dove a lot deeper and discovered this resilience element. So Francis, well, I say Francis because I'm French, but Francis to the others out there.
That's good.
Thank you so much for joining us. Please do tell a little bit about the resilience element. I'm going to go a little deeper, by the way, everyone, on how you can deal with rejection using the resilience element. So over to you.
Well, thank you first of all I'm so glad to be part of the show, and hopefully that's going to help at least one person. So let's just say I've like many of the people, I have a lot of different challenges in my life, and lately I just came up with a very good passion of mine. It's talking about resilience, because resilience, I think, is what we need in all the areas of our life. And I came up with some sort of a formula that I think that if I look back of all the successes that I've had, there was always those components. And I just figured that out lately. And that's something that I want to share to people because it could really help.
Cool. Now, I'm wondering, we talked on the phone the other day. You mentioned that you'd had a not so good experience with a woman. And we are, after all, talking to all the single men out there who kind of, don't we all get stuck in rejection? I know I certainly have. And it's sent me into a tailspin. Would you mind, Francis, sharing what happened with you?
Yeah, well, it's I think the main event that started pretty much everything, or the spiritual journey or the whole journey in my life, was when I'm someone that really likes to have some results, and I have my goals in mind. And at one point, I basically started in a job that I really didn't like at all. And I did that just for the money. And finally, once in my life, I decided to just join something else. I was probably 24, 25 at the time, and I started to work for Xerox Canada. And so what happened is that just that week when I started, I think life was great. I had a great job coming up. I was starting something new. I was about to get married in three months. So life was great. And so starting that week, funny thing is maybe 2 days after a little incident, I lost the computer that they gave me. Not a bad thing, but still, you feel not so good. You go back to the you're like, the computer you gave me, it's gone.
Well, I don't know what happened to it.
So in your mind, you're thinking, it's probation period. I gotta be strong because I want to make sure I'm going to keep that job. So that's like one little thing. And then the big coup was the day after when I came back home, and then my girlfriend at the time, my fiance, just said, "You know what, Francis, I want to cancel the wedding."
Oh God.
Okay, 2 good days in a row. That's amazing. So it was really hard. I mean, at one point, like at that point, I don't think, in my mind, it was just the wedding that was over, and I'm thinking, okay, but we're still together, right? She's like, no, we're not. It's over. And it was a 7 or 8 years relationship. So, it's just not leaving the person, it's leaving the situation, it's leaving the family, it's leaving your habits, everything. And then the day after, you have to go back to work where, don't know if people know, but Xerox is a pretty intense company for sales. So you got to be sharp, you got to be smiling. And the last thing you want to do is smile, really. And I wish that I was working in the construction business. You know what I mean? Just don't think about what I'm going through. So instead, I was in a cubicle all by myself, reading specs on a photocopier. Not really. Again, you're just in your head. You're thinking about that all the time. So it was really an awful, awful event. And I don't know, I guess to explain the whole thing is that, I tried to get her back, like most of the guys would probably try to do.
Yeah.
And so she left like the day after. She was even gone to her place, so she was not with me anymore. So it's
Oh
a
my
big
God.
change. What happened is that we were still seeing each other every weekend. I think it was maybe her trying to be nice to me. I don't know, but the
Been
feeling that
there.
I had was feeling that I had was basically, it's almost like you have a pill of happiness each time you see her, and then you're withdrawing the whole week. So I mean, it's really really hard on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. You start to get better on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then you see her, and it's a whole cycle that I did for probably like 3-4 months. And
Wow. Yep.
and the funny thing is that we had a honeymoon trip booked. We couldn't cancel the wedding, and not the wedding, but the honeymoon trip. And I needed to go for vacation, and she went for vacation as well.
Oh
So
my
we
God.
went
That's
on
just
that honeymoon
weird.
trip, and then all the people are asking, "So, oh, congratulations!" And
And
like,
you're like, oh,
yeah.
jeez.
So it was hard, to
Yeah.
and I think that the turning point was, when you try your best, you do everything, and there's a lot of different things that we can share today, but
Yeah.
I mean, I just knew that um, that was it. Like, I mean, you tried everything. I started to be a different person. I started to be not me. And that process, like I said, studying at the same time. I was thirsty all the time.
Yeah.
I lost weight, not a lot of weight you can lose in this body, by the way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it
You're
was,
pretty fit.
so it was hard. It was hard, but I think that I have some tools today that I would
Mhm.
definitely use that I didn't know at the time, and yeah, it's something. It
So
was
let me ask you a question, if you don't mind. I know you were, really desperately trying to get her back, and you were kind of lying to yourself, saying, "Oh, everything feels okay," but at the bottom of it, what kind of self-talk did you have? That's one question, and the other one is, did you feel that you could get back on your feet? I mean, were you worried about getting rejected again? Because that is huge, man.
yeah, no, it's and first of all, and I remember I remember even having a conversation with a friend even before that happened, and my
Uh-huh.
friend at the time was 35. I'm 38, and he said, Francis, you're lucky because you have the girl of your dream. You're gonna get married. I mean, it's tough, 35, trying to find love and everything. And
Yeah.
then I, as soon as it happened, I remember thinking, I'm 25. Like, who's gonna love me at 25? And
Oh,
it's
God,
no,
I
but
think
it's because I thought 7-8 years, like all those nice people are gone. Like in my mind, you know what I mean? It's
Mhm,
and then I felt that I didn't know how to date anymore.
mhm.
You're just 25, you're just about to almost think about having kids, like
Yeah.
starting, like you're far from needing to go dating. And now, it's not even in your mind. Like, I mean, you're thinking you're not worth it. You just know,
Mm,
like, first of all, why did she reject me? There's all that talk inside that's toxic
yeah.
that at one point you have to kill. And
Yeah. I
I think one thing I actually that really helped me, maybe some of know the book The Alchemist, but I just started to realize that this was maybe just a little bump on the road, or not
mhm.
little, but something that's just part of my
That's like a
journey.
mountain? Excuse
Not
me?
all, yeah, but yeah, and it's. I think that at one point you start to change when you feel and you realize that the pain in the existing moment is bigger than what's possible.
So that was your turning point when you realized that the pain that you were experiencing, the bad self-talk, the emotional, the depression, I'm sure that you felt as well, and the feeling of being unworthy and having your ego and your confidence just crushed, like before you even hit the altar. So you kind of hit rock bottoms. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, at one point you're thinking, okay, so how long do I want to continue to feel bad? Like, how long do I want to keep on going with that existing situation? Like,
Mhm.
how, and then you realize that that moment where you let go, and that moment where you decide to stop that whole pain, can be anytime. I
Yeah.
mean, this is something that could happen in 1 second. That's something that can happen in 1 month or 10 years. There's a moment when for sure. I mean, I guess, I was 25, and I know that I'm not going to die the day after,
Hopefully.
so you're thinking, am I going to live? Am I going to think that way 10 years? Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not 5, maybe a year or 2. I don't know. But I knew that there was a moment where I would say, okay, well, that's it, that's over. So then in
Mhm.
my mind, I'm thinking, when is that going to be that moment? And can I choose that moment? Absolutely. There's a day that I knew that I would wake up
Yeah.
and say, this is it.
Yep.
So now, when, that could be today, that could
Mhm.
be tomorrow, that could be anytime.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes, you just have to really inner go inside you and think about all the good things that you are, like all the people, and
Yeah.
just be grateful.
Yeah.
Maybe at the time, what really helped me was someone, that a sales instructor that I met, and through going through that, it was even before the honeymoon.
Uh-huh.
um, and I went through a training, and sales training, and the guy is like has a radio host voice, like very
Oh, I
strong.
love that kind of voice.
And felt that it was almost a grandpa. And after that week, I went to see him, and his name is Bob Smith. And I said, "Hey, Bob, thank you so much. Like,
Mhm.
it was a great week. Like, I really loved and enjoyed." So for me, that's another thing. If you can do something you love, then you kind of forget a little bit more about what's going on. So I
Mhm.
was in my element. I was in my element of just joy of learning how to sell and be better. So I went to thank him, and I'm still thinking about it.
Mhm.
It could be emotional, but he looked at me in the eyes and he said, "Francis, I've seen you this week." And I'm thinking, okay. He's like, "I just want to tell you that it you can be whoever you want in your life. That's just up to you." And
Oh,
at
those
that
are
time,
wise words.
I think, and I didn't even tell him what was going on. So it was more
Oh,
like right in my heart, and thinking that
whoa.
he gave me permission to just say, "You're good. You're good
He
enough."
must have had some idea. And I have to say, most men and women too couldn't imagine that someone. I mean, you're very handsome, and you're also have a beautiful heart, Francis. I, you know, most people couldn't imagine that you would ever get dumped. I mean, you know, that you're confident, you're well spoken and stuff. We can't imagine that someone like you could get dumped, but it can happen to anybody. And so, that's the wild thing. We can all go down to those depths and
Absolutely.
don't
And
know where the bottom is. And then when you hit the bottom, so it's not just people who, you know, whatever. It could be anybody, even that, you know,
and
you. It's
and it
nothing.
could happen twice.
Oh yeah.
I've
It,
been I've been engaged twice, so, and it didn't work
oh,
2 times. So I used to say to people, I know how to get a yes.
okay. So
So,
so so now thanks for sharing that painful experience. And I hope that didn't bring you down, but I know that you've gone past it, and I wanted to share it because what I want you to tell our people that are watching and listening is you told us about your turning point. How specifically did you get out of it? Like I know you do this resilience element show. How does that tie in with you getting from that bottom point to back up to where you are now? Because now you're leading an incredible life, and I mean, I've never seen you happier. Tell us. We're dying to
uh,
know.
well, maybe I can mention like few things, the 5 components of the resilience element, and
Please.
maybe people can just relate to where they are, because I believe that resilience, and the funny thing is, I call it resilience element and RE. When you look on the web, RE means rhenium, and that's actually a
Mm.
very rare element that has the highest boiling point. So
Uh-huh.
it's pretty interesting. And what's interesting about rhenium, like resilience, is that it's a byproduct. So it doesn't come. It's a mix of something. So the mix of the components that I see is 5 things. So it starts with clarity. So, for example, like if you don't know where you're going, that's not really going to help you to really bounce back. Like you're just staying in the rut. Like you don't know where you're going. So you need to have an idea of where you're going. And so for me, I think that I was probably thinking, well, this is not the type of situation I want to be in. I don't want to stay like that. I see myself happy. I see myself with another person. I see myself getting married and having kids. So
Hmm.
is my situation right now is going to help me to be like that? Absolutely not.
So you
Uh,
visualize, and then you put that with how you're feeling right now.
yeah, it's just kind of have an idea about where you want to go, right? And sometimes clarity doesn't really is not easy to find. Like people like say, well, your purpose, Francis. You're so lucky. Like I don't. But
Luck? It's hard work. Oh,
here's a question that actually one thing that helps is having a coach. And I had a coach, even this July, and he asked me a very important question, which brings the second point, which is conviction. And what I mean by conviction is your purpose.
ah,
So the question was, Francis, I want you to imagine you're taking your agenda you put like a date in 5 years from now, and you say, this is the day you're going to die. And so what are you going to do in between? Like, what's your real legacy? Like, what do you want? So it's a great question, because I think that sometimes, we hear, oh, you live as if it's your last day, blah, blah, but in our head, it's not really realistic. You're like, okay, well, so if I say, Esmée, like, you're going to die tomorrow, you're like, okay, interview's over. It was
Pop
good.
the champagne.
Good luck, guys. But, and then if I say in a month from now, you're like, I'm stopping everything. I'm just taking I sell everything. I go travel around the world. You might be able to do it for 6 months. You might be able to do it for a year. 5 years is a big time, right? A big project. So, I mean, so what's your big why, right? I mean, do you want to be single, or you want to be with someone? So,
And you have to be really honest with yourself, because we often people kid themselves, both men and women, as to law. I don't need to be with anybody, although, but really deep down, you have to be very honest with yourself, don't you?
Yeah. So, I mean, and you can find that answer by saying, okay, so if I die in 5 years from now, do I want to share that with someone, or do I want to be alone? And then you can say, well, okay, so what's stopping me to do that? So then it's all the inner thoughts, right? So the rejection and everything. I strongly believe that you have to fail faster, fail forward. I mean, that's the only way to learn. And I've learned so many ways, in terms of even like losing my job, or being demoted, or starting a new business, losing money. I mean, at the end of the day, you learn so much, and you got to have certainty into what you want to do.
So fail faster and fail forward. Sorry to interrupt, but I love what you just said there. I go on about that and how that applies to men, because I want to know.
Well, I don't think I would be to have confidence. At one point, you have to believe in yourself, right? So that's one thing. And ways to do that is really to start to be grateful about your life, and just remembering all the breakthroughs you had. So, and what I mean by, I don't see anybody, and that's where the certainty comes in. Like, imagine you're a baby. You go back when you're 6 months, and is there a reason why everybody walks in life? Think about this. Like, the babies are 6 months old. They're looking at everything around.
Yeah.
And you see all the adults walking. They all see them. So there's no surprise that they're all trying. They're all trying to, they fail constantly, but they know for sure, they have that certainty that they're going to walk, because everybody's walking.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that certain? So as soon as you have certainty, you're way more resilient, because you see everybody walking. I know I'm going to walk one day. So I'm just going to do and keep trying until I get there.
So you kind of model yourself after people that do have successful relationships, that are confident, that are who and where you want to be, kind of? What you're saying? Say it again?
Say again, yeah.
Okay. Well, I even confused myself there. Doesn't take much.
Hey, it's a rejection. Let's start again. Like, let's try again.
Wait, where do we start? So yeah. Okay. So what you're saying is you're advising people or men, well, everybody, to visualize where you want to be, but then you model yourself after somebody, or some way to be. Like, model yourself after people that are successful, or hang around with people that do have good relationships. Would that help?
That certainly helps.
Okay.
For sure. I mean, having friends and being grateful. And I think that at one point you realize, like, really deeply, are you someone that's worth enough to be loved and loved? And
Yes.
first thing is, do you love yourself? Because the reason why I kept on going and I kept on trying to gain her back is really because I didn't really had confidence in myself. Because the day that you're confident in yourself, the day you know that something's better is gonna be on the path, and that you see that you're actually destroying yourself by trying and by being different, you don't love yourself. So the day you love yourself is the day where you change. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm far from being perfect. It happens like a few years after where I had a relationship like that, where I'm like, oh, I'm self-destructing myself. Like, my friends, when they saw me, maybe 9 months after it was over, they told me, Francis, you're back. You got your smile on your face. I didn't have my smile. I was miserable.
I can't imagine you being miserable.
Sorry?
I can't imagine you being miserable ever. I mean, gosh, every time I see you, you're smiling.
Well, maybe after falling a few times, I mean, going back to what we said, right? Like, so
Yeah.
now if something happens like that, maybe I build some resilience. You've been with someone for 7, 8 years. So if I'm with someone for 3 years and it doesn't work out, I know that there's going to be a day again that I'm going to wake up and say, I'll be fine. So do I want to continue to live that miserable feeling inside me
Mm-hmm.
for a long time? Or do I want to just change and move on? And I'm not saying it's easy, it's up and downs, but some of the things that you can do is definitely doing things that you enjoy. And,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it might be just exercise. Different people have different elements. They might play piano, they might go hiking, they might go surfing. I mean, surfing for me, that's an amazing thing. I could probably say if you can surf somewhere, anywhere, there's no way you can think about your problems.
Oh,
It's
that's on my list. Yeah.
the wave is coming at you. The wave is not going to say, oh, hold on, I'm not going to come at you because I know you have to think about your problem.
Yeah.
It's coming. So you're like, oh. So
Yeah.
you're in the zone for I don't know how long, and it feels great. So that's something that, if there's anything that people can do is change your mood. Like people will be attracted to you when you're in a good mood, not when you're in a sad mood. And I'm not saying we're not in a sad mood ever. There's some ways of doing it. So if I go back to tools that I didn't have at the time that I
Mm-hmm.
think would have tremendously helped me is
Mm-hmm.
gratitude. Is a big, big, big one. And then doing something you love, like it could be just walking your dog, or going see kids. My cousins have little kids, and I remember seeing them. I was like a kid. I loved it, and it made me feel good. So that's one shift. Shifting
Mm-hmm.
your emotion to a better emotion, and then loving yourself, and just say, I can do this, and I go on. And then, so we had so far clarity, we had conviction,
Mm-hmm.
certainty, knowing that for sure, I'll be good.
Yep.
And then it's commitment. And commitment means, you got to go out there. You want to meet people, let's go out there. And then the fifth thing is courage. And
Yes.
that's failing faster and failing forward. So you keep doing what you have to do on a daily basis, on a monthly basis. It's not by staying home you're gonna meet the love of your life.
They're not come
Yes.
knocking on your door. You have to get yourself out there.
I mean, if that happens, if there's a solution, I want to know, because
Yeah. Same here. That's
oh,
potato chips.
but so commitment is really like committing to yourself. Maybe sometimes it's just committing of improving your confidence, and that might be to go to, I don't know, improv, public speaking, whatever makes you feel better. And then meeting people, and for sure one day you're going to meet someone and that's not going to work out.
Mm-hmm.
But then what do you learn from it? Like, what can you, and just go on. Actually, I have a very good exercise I think I would like to share.
Please do.
I read that in a book, and if I can translate it, is the men that wanted to be happy, or something like that. So I want to Google it. But one of the, I thought that it was a phenomenal exercise, because we all want to go get a yes, right? We want to get a contract, we want to get a client, we want to get a prospect, we want to make money. So now
We want to get a girlfriend.
Now in your request, the trick is, I call it the no exercise.
Oh.
So the exercise is not that you want to get a yes, is that you want to get a no.
Mm.
So what you do is, and some of the examples in the book is, the guy had some self-doubt about himself. He's like, well, look at me. Nobody's gonna want to do anything with me. And he's like, okay, so here's an exercise. You got to go get a no. He's like, oh, it's going to be easy. Super easy. He's like, okay, go on. And so he goes on the street, and he sees a girl with like an ice cream cone. He's like, that looks fantastic. Can I have a bite? Like, oh. He's like, oh, you? What are you talking about? She's like, okay, here you go. She's like, what? What are you talking about? Like,
I love that.
He asked for a taxi cab. Then the guy's like, okay, I'd like to go this place, but I don't have the money. He's like, well, I'll do it half price.
Wow.
You don't understand. Like, I don't have the money. He's like, just get in a taxi. I'll just give you a deal. It's like, no, I don't have the money. I'll just get in and start it. And then he started to realize, like, this thing's like, nobody can give me a no. I want to know. But I think, and the psychology behind that is that instead of, when you're trying too hard, and I'm sure women can relate, you go see them and they're, oh, he's desperate. He really wants to get something out of it.
And that's a turnoff, because when a guy looks desperate, he looks weak. Sorry to say, but that doesn't inspire a lot of confidence in us. So
So
Tell me.
imagine if I go see you, and in my head, I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna have some fun, and I'm just gonna ask Esme, hey, Esme, you look great. Do you want to go for dinner?
I'd say sure.
But
Woo!
so if you say no, that's fine. That's what I
Yeah.
wanted. And if you say yes, well, that's a conversation starter, and that's it. So and I've tried it, and
Mhm.
that day I remember I tried 2 times, and it was phenomenal. Like it was just because at the end of the day, you get rejected, you're fine. That's what you expect, and maybe
Okay.
that's what people need to do. Like I don't know, it tricks for different people, but
Yeah.
maybe instead of going for a hard yes, like it's fine. Like you continue to you learn, and that's why some people are keep on trying until you succeed. Like the babies are doing it,
Yeah.
so why
So,
are we not
so
doing it?
in essence, what you're doing is you're giving yourself permission to screw up. You're giving yourself permission to not worry about being judged because you know you're going to be judged anyway. So you're giving yourself permission to draw outside your own line, step outside your own box, and it's okay if someone says no, right? Because it
That's part. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know any business or anything that started right away with a yes. I mean, maybe they're lucky, but I think the strongest business or the people or strongest people are the one that had so many no's.
yeah.
And going back to that certainty, imagine if there's a guy out there and I say, the girl of your dreams is going to be there in about a year and a half from now. That's for
Mm.
sure. Like we have the Back to the Future machine. We just
Hmm.
went. We saw her. She's phenomenal. That's amazing. Now we go back in 2016, or like now, not in a year and a half from now, and I say to you, you're never going to meet anybody. But you saw what's going on in a year and a half. So what would be your answer? You
Hmm.
probably say, I don't care. And then the person would say, why? Because I saw it. I know it's going to happen. So then it's just play in between.
Hmm.
What is in between is just play, is learning experience. It might be actually meeting people that could be your friends or people that would help you meet somebody else for a different reason. That might be just for love or for business or whatever,
Hmm.
but it's in the present moment. That's where the life is.
You know what I love about what you just said, Francis, is that this no exercise for a guy who's afraid of rejection, and aren't we all to a certain extent? But some men are really terrified by it because I felt like that in the past when I was younger. Um, the cool part of it is that you are literally building your own confidence just by going out and doing these things that are not normal for you to do. The minute you start doing things that are different every day, like get up at a different time from what you used to, or brush your teeth with the other hand, go up to people and just say whatever, no matter how goofy it is, you don't care. It, and you get these yeses that you weren't even looking for. That kind of makes you feel good, doesn't it? It makes you feel more courageous and more like, hey, I can do this. I can get dates.
Yeah,
And then you
absolutely.
die from trying.
And it feels so good when you try. I mean, and that could be in different things. Like just 5 days ago, and I'm gonna admit, like I think I can go on stage and I can talk and I can do these things, and I love it. But for the first time, I did a Facebook Live thing, and I was scared. Like I was really scared because then I'm thinking about what the people are gonna look. I didn't know even how to start, how to finish it. I wish somebody would have told me.
Hmm.
But then I thought that's another thing. Instead of being too attached to the outcome, like my purpose was more in the process. I'm gonna do it.
Hmm.
I did it, and I was so surprised by the number of views. And like, it could be small, it could be big for some people, but I really, at one point, I didn't care. I didn't. It
Yeah.
was a process, and the feeling that you have when it's over is unbelievable. I thought, this is what I was afraid of.
Was not
I
that
can do it
hard, really,
anytime.
huh?
It's like going to a roller coaster. And that's one thing actually in the Alchemist that I've read. They say that the fear of the inevitable is worse than the inevitable itself.
Yeah, so to translate it into how I would see it is like just the feelings that you muster up that start whirling around in your stomach, all those butterflies. That's just the anticipation that's driving you crazy. If you
Yeah.
just jump in, you know,
And you realize you're thinking, that was it.
that's
Uh,
all there is. Wow, what's next? What else you got? you know?
and I know that it takes courage to do it, but
Yeah.
that's the reality is, here's another thing. Like the questions you can ask is, it's asking better questions to ourselves. So you
Mm.
look at the current situation, you're like, how long do I want to stay in that miserable or painful state? How long do I want to stay like that? So
Hmm.
if do I want to do it for an extra 3 weeks, 1 year? 5 years, and how's going to be my life if I keep on doing what I'm doing right now?
Mm-hmm.
How painful would it be? I bet that it will be more painful if you continue on doing what you're doing right now,
Yep.
and then build it to even 20 years. Like, if you're still continuing to do that for 20 years, is that going to be really helpful? So those are better questions, because
Yep.
that's what I ask myself. Okay, Francis, you don't do it now, but you want to
Yeah.
make it big. So is that helpful for you? No. So do it. And I
Yeah.
and I did it. And then once you're in, you're that's where you realize, wow, this was a lot easier than I thought. And the good news is that you learn so much. I know probably 4 or 5 things that I'm going to do in my next video that will be way better. But I would not know these things unless I do it. And I
Yep.
can learn so many different things in books and everything, but if I don't apply anything, I'm not going to learn. So
That's
the best and the fastest way, that's why I fell earlier, fell
mhm.
faster, fell
Yeah.
forward. That's the best advice I can give to people.
Yeah. And that's why people seek out coaches like us, because you can read all you want in a book, but until you do it, you don't get anywhere. And sometimes you just don't know what to do or how to do it. And why beat yourself up over that? Go get some help, for heaven's sake. I mean, I know you help tons of people with your resilience coaching, and I help tons of guys who have fear of rejection, or don't know how to date anymore because they've been in their relationship for so long. And it's like, get some help, for heaven's sakes, people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I remember actually when it happened, when my the wedding was canceled. I went to
Uh,
see, I seek some advice, and I remember that the person asked me a question, and I didn't go back. Like, that was a
mm,
pretty strong question. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I had to think about it.
mhm.
But I think deep down, I didn't like the fact that I was asking for help, or that I was, it's all, you're seeing someone, but now, I mean, who doesn't have people to help them? It might be your friend. It might be, like,
Yeah.
professionals have coaches. And the
Yeah.
reality is, you need someone to either be more accountable, or
Yes.
say, I've done this. Trust me, trust the process.
Hmm.
I've done it. And then, even me, like, all coaches have coaches.
We do. We both have coaches, don't we? We've got lots of them.
We can never do it alone, and that's the
Yeah.
thing. That's why, it might be a sales mentor, like mentors or coaches or
Hmm.
people that can ask you better questions, because the reality is, we're driving and we have blind spots and we
Yep.
don't see it. It's
Yep.
all in our head, and then it takes someone to say, where did you get that from?
Yeah.
Eh,
Try it
you
this way.
think you're not attractive?
Gosh.
Who said that? Or any other things that you have in your mind. No, I mean, I'm too old. Who said that?
Yeah. We're.
My grandma, as an example, got married for the third time at 70.
Oh, good for her.
She started to play golf at 69.
Oh, I
So,
love your grandma. I
so
hope I get
how
to
many
meet her
people have
sometime.
said, I'm too old for this, or it's not going to work.
Or I'm not attractive enough, or I don't have enough money, or I'm not funny enough, or when I'm not good looking, whatever. It's just, it's in your own head. You can you develop all those things to be a better you when you show up. Always good to do your best and to show up your best, but be your very best. And yeah, sometimes you just need to get some coaching to get that. Francis, so what's your number one tip for single guys who want to get back into dating, and they're either afraid to ask women out, or they're too nervous, or they just, how do you get past that past rejection and hurt to go on and do it again in a
Well,
better way?
it's funny you say that, and I think what comes to my mind right away is, you got to love yourself.
Okay.
I think that's the most important thing. Each time that I was in that kind of a sluggish element, or it's just because I didn't like myself. I
Hmm.
just didn't. So how can you attract someone if you don't? Like, you can't ask someone to help love you more than you love yourself.
Yes.
The other question is, if you're on the other side, what type of person does that person wants to meet?
Hmm.
Does she want to meet someone that needs you so much? Does she want to meet someone happy?
Yeah.
So by loving yourself, I think few ways of doing it is, sometimes it might just be act as if, or just like I said, you have to be in good elements, do what
Yeah.
you love. So you can do a few things. One is gratitude. So what can you be grateful about
And
today?
say it out loud to people.
There's that. Then there's also meditation.
Hmm.
I started meditation maybe 2 years ago, and I
Hmm.
wish I started that before. And it helps in so many different areas of your life. And I think that one is just to be more mindful about what your thoughts are.
Yeah.
Trust me, if you asked me 2 years ago, how do you do meditation? I didn't know.
Oh,
All I knew is you sit, you close your eyes, you try not to think about something, which doesn't happen. The first time, your thought goes here and goes there, and then you're like, where did that come from? Like from the first minute to the 10th minute, you're thinking, wow, I don't know how I came up with that thing. You just got to continue to do it. And the reality is then you feel way, way more relaxed, and you know your thoughts. And that's useful because if you know your thoughts, then you can fix it, right? And
I just want to say one thing that I do that works well for me. And I love that meditation tip, Francis. It's awesome. My way of getting rid of the bad self-talk that pops in and, oh, you're this, you're that, I just let it float on by. And then when a good thought comes in, I'll spin on that.
yeah, and that's why even gratitude can be that. I remember like one of my best moments was traveling in a very beautiful place, and to be honest, it was the second time, just after the second time where it didn't work out. I was
Uh-huh.
engaged twice, like I said, and I was with my friend, and she's like, "Wow, just stop talking about this." Like, just like, and I was not in a very good element. I wanted to meet some people, but honestly, I
Mhm.
was at the bar. I was probably so miserable. When you're on the corner, you drink.
Yeah.
It really looks at you. You're thinking you're an alien, and you're not attractive at all. We were okay on the bar,
No.
and then lucky me, I was in Santorini at the time, and my friend had to go to the hotel, and she's like, "I'm tired. I'm just gonna go to the hotel." I'm like, "Fine, good." And then I walked for the first time, myself, and I realized, wow, this is such a beautiful place. And then I started to be so grateful. I had a coffee. I was on rooftop somewhere, and it was just for an hour, and I thought, you know what? If there's only one thing that I can appreciate right now, is this. And if that's the only thing that I got out of that trip, I'm fine. I'm happy with it. And that could be going on the beach somewhere, just
Mhm.
realizing you can compare yourself to so many different people. And then you're like, I'm lucky. I'm alive. I'm in front of all a beautiful place. And then all the pressure disappeared. I walked back, saw my friend, and she said, how are you? I'm like, I feel great.
Oh,
Sorry, like about the last 6 days. Like I'm back. I'm happy to be here. I'm gonna have a good time. And then started a new bus store, and we met some people, and it was like the greatest time ever. But that switch happened in just 1 minute, really.
so it just happens in a split second, really, to say you have to want it and see what's around you and be appreciative of it.
Yeah, so meditation is a bit like that too, right?
Mhm.
In some ways, you're just kind of more present, and so
Mhm.
I'm thinking, well, I'm just going to enjoy while I'm here, and that's what happened. And
Yeah.
and the meditation is, I know that sometimes people are like, oh, it's like you have almost like those little flowers
You
in
have
your
to sit
head.
cross-legged and go boom. Whatever. Yeah.
But the funny thing is that for me, each time I meditate, it's almost like the movie The Matrix, and
Yes.
there's like that bullet that comes and you can dodge it.
Oh, I like that, Francis. Yes.
So, so for me is I feel it's a little bit like that. Like when events happens in my life,
Mhm.
and it could happen like we work. There's a lot of phone calls, lots of email, lots of pressure. But when I meditate, I feel that I can just take almost like as a third eye and just look at that bullet and just dodge it,
Ooh.
and then just say, okay, well, do I have to accept this or no? Or is this very important, or is that going to
Mhm.
change my life? No. And then I'm just able to have a way better day, and I'm way more effective. There's studies about it, like you can read it, read and read and read.
Mhm.
Feels so great. So what I would say, gratitude, meditation, first of all, like I said, loving yourself
Mhm.
first. And then I don't know, do we have a third one? I think that's a good start.
Those are a good start, and I know that we're out of time because you have to go and I have to go. But Francis, I want to thank you so much for showing up today and for being here and sharing with us your personal experience and how you got past that pain. And that's incredible. And everybody, if you want to follow Francis, tell us where people can find you, Francis. Where can they reach you?
Yeah, well, so the website is actually being built as we speak. So,
Uh-huh.
but you can go on the website and even like kind of subscribe to what's coming up. So it's called the resilienceelement.com.
Okay.
So, resilienceelement.com. on there, you can put your name and put your email, and then we'll start to interview some people about resilience to inspire the people to just find that resilience element in
Awesome.
them, whatever areas of their life. So, and explain that formula. So that's what's coming up. For me, if I die in 5 years, um, I'm going to be happy to basically inspire the world. I, Maybe that's why I'm on earth. I had all these difficulties, but right now I'm so thrilled to help the people to be more resilient, because that's one of the most important elements you need to have inside you.
I totally agree. And we teach what we know. And if anybody knows about resilience, Francis, it's you. So, Francis, thank you so much again for being here. Everybody, Francis Piché, founder of the Resilience Element Show. He is an amazing man. I know him. And listen, follow what he does, because he will get you through some of the worst periods of your life with what he's learned from his own. I'm Esmée St. James, founder and CEO of The Dating Muse. I'm going to sign off now. Thank you all so much for watching. Catch me for the next show. Who knows what it's going to be, but it's going to be fun. Thank you so much, Francis, again for being here.
Thank
Ciao.
you very
Bye.
much, Esme.
Be well.
Be well.